to farming in the Philippines. So I've begun burning this pile of trash here. And I'm going to keep it down a bit because I don't want it to damage these trees and the squash here. I brought the water hose with me. And I'm standing right next to the trees here, so if it gets too hot for them, or if it gets too hot for me, then it's too hot for them. I've been wanting to do this ever since we first cut all these trees down. Because I want to clear this area out. And Marcel did need to come and get a bit of this salvageable wood out of it, and she has done that. Set most of it right over there. The trick is going to be to not let the fire get too large, because there's really no place to move this to burn it. It is where it is. That went really well. No mishaps. I'm fairly certain I didn't let it get too hot. And it's still burning. But I'm going to do what I need to do here. So I brought down the, I guess we can call it the duckweed scoop now. I brought it down with a bucket. Now I just fed them about an hour and a half ago. I gave them their noontime feeding. And in a perfect world, I would give them the duckweed at their noontime feeding. But they're going to get it about 2:30 in the afternoon, which is about what it is right now. So I'm going to gather, well, I'm going to put a full bucket in this and a full bucket in that one, and then in the morning, and I'm going to put some in that last cage, that last newest cage too. Tata still hasn't gotten the feeding guard in there, so they need something to eat. So I'm going to try to get 3 of those 1-gallon buckets out of there and put one in each of these boxes. And that's what I forgot. I was going to bring down the scale and weigh it, but I think it weighs about 5 pounds, one of those buckets full of duckweed, and that works out to about almost a pound of dry matter, and it's half a kilo. And so I think that'll work out pretty good. So I've been taking it out already, and I'm not sure if I can do this with one hand and not have the phone end up, the phone and me end up in the water. But this is how I collect it. It's a fairly simple and straightforward process. Now I changed buckets. This red bucket is a little bit larger than that other one. It's wider at the top. I'm still dumping a little bit on the ground, but less than I would be with that green bucket. It was in that red one was in the wheelbarrow, and so decided to use it as well. Now I can tell by how thick this is that I'm not going to take 3 buckets out. I might only take 1. And it's no guarantee that we're not going to have to shade this. We may have to shade it a little bit. I can tell by looking at it that it doesn't have that rich green look to it. It's kind of a pale lime green, and I'm quite sure that it's not a water quality issue. This is pond water. This is what this stuff grows in. And so the only other remaining thing would be water temperature and sunlight, and the water temperature is fine. However, you can see that part right there is shaded from this tree, and it doesn't seem to be making much difference out there in the middle. So I don't know, but it's growing and it's fish food. All right, well, I've got the full bucket, and I don't think I'm going to take out any more, because that has made a fairly large patch out there. And I just want to make sure that I want to check in the morning. It should all be full coverage again by in the morning. It may be even full coverage in 30 minutes, because that out there is a little more compact than this in here. You can see it's kind of converging in on itself. But I can tell from having done this before that it's just not thick out there. This will stack on itself somewhat. It'll make not a double layer, but like an iceberg breaking up, an ice flow. It'll kind of stack upon itself. And it's not even, there were some tiny little gaps out in there when I started. So I can tell that it's just not plentiful. So today we're going to take out one bucket and we're going to call it good. And I'll check it again in the morning, just to basically check growth rate. Okay, so I put the majority of it in this first cage here. And as you can see, they are getting after it. They like that stuff. These here, not quite so much. I think they're probably still full. But the ones in this last cage here that haven't had anything to eat, they're going at it just as much as the ones in the first cage. So at least they'll have something in their bellies. I think this is going to work out well. So yeah, there's a bit of wind, or maybe it's waves there, but it's completely filled in back there where I was harvesting it, and the gap is here along the net. So we'll see what it looks like in the morning. I'm 99.9% sure it'll be fully covered again, and that will facilitate taking out another bucket. At some point I'll probably try taking out two. I do need to talk to Tatai about to see what we're going to do. I still have visions of those 2 boxes of fish, or fish for sale out of the tanks. There's a lot of large fish out in there. So I don't know, I'm thinking, I'm going to talk to Tatai about it, but I'm thinking the best way to catch them is to just move this net down that way, I don't know, 20 feet. That will give more space for the duckweed to grow, and it will concentrate those fish that much more, and he can put the capture net on the other side down in that end, and we can start catching the fish out of there. And look, we've got plenty of fingerlings. We got enough fingerlings to fill the next 3 boxes. We just got to let them grow up some. But there's still a lot of fingerlings out in there. So maybe we'll put out the word that we have fingerlings for sale again. Those pesos add up when you're selling them 500 and 1,000 at a time. So we shall see. But I definitely want to get all of the larger fish out of this, if at all possible, and keep them up in the tanks there. And if we get something close to enough to sell a couple boxes, just save out like 15 individuals, and maybe we'll go back to raising fry in those tanks, with breeder tanks, having breeder fish in those tanks with screens and nets and all that. Or we'll just leave an area like maybe that size right there down on the other end, just for like, I guess you could call it a breeding pen. We'll see. I'm going to talk all this over with Tata and see what he wants to do. I did not get anything done in the garden today. Bahiko went out at 10:30 last night, just when I was getting ready to go to sleep. And so I waited for like 15 minutes, then turned on the solar, and hoping that it would come back on. I stayed up till like 2 a.m. It never did. I had already set the alarm for 6, so I got back up at 6 to check on the solar, move the panels, and Bahiko still had not come on. It didn't come on until like 9:30 this morning. So I am tuckered out. Less than 4 hours of sleep last night. And I don't function well on 4 hours or less of sleep. So, got a lot done today, but not the labor-intensive stuff that I wanted to get done. But we got another box full of fish in the water, growing. We still have to get the feed guard in there. I'll go down and remind Tatai, and we'll talk about how we're going to catch the rest of the fish and the fingerlings out of this pond. Thank you, everyone. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.